Yeah, hot topics going on in spring training. Tony Clark, the head of the union, is making his rounds. He goes to every spring training camp, holds a players' meeting. The collective bargaining agreement is coming up about a year from now. One of the big issues with Tony Clark is what the Dodgers did to baseball. Is that good for baseball? We're talking about the spending spree. Is that good for baseball? And what about the deferred contract? Does the union have any input as to whether that's good for baseball? Tony Clark didn't want to get into too much detail about what transpired, but he says the deferred contracts do not involve the union. The deferred contracts are a player-agent team relationship.
Yeah.
And he says if they agree to a deferred contract with interest, that's okay. If they agree to a deferred contract with no interest, the Ohtani contract, that's okay because the team agreed to it, the agent agreed to it, the player agreed to it. So he's washed his hands of the deferred contract situation. It is that agreement, and he's not going to get involved in that conversation. Next one is Scott Boras, the super agent. Enormous commentary around Major League Baseball with the first pitch in the Cactus League today. Blake Snell's at home in Seattle watching it on TV. Mm-hmm. Jordan Montgomery is home in St. Louis watching it on TV. Cody Bellinger is at home in Chicago. Same storyline. So is the DH JD Martinez. And the question is, Boras has not come to agreement with all his marquee free agents. Is that good for the players? To which Boras's response is, I represent top-of-the-line players. If an owner wants to improve his product on his team for the fans in his stadium, he just needs to call me. So Boras says, it's on you, John Riley. Your team has not called to make the state-of-the-art offer to Blake Snell or Montgomery or Bellinger or J.D. Martinez. Third topic on the table, Boston Red Sox not had a good offseason. Not the same franchise as it was just a couple of years ago. John Henry, Fenway Sports Group, seem to be spending their money other places, a.k.a. the English Premier Soccer League and NASCAR. So this week, we had Mike Trout sound off, informing Angels owner Artie Moreno, go sign one of those marquee free agents. Aaron Judge informing Brian Cashman of the Yankees, we need pitching. Go sign that free agent pitcher. And now Ralph Devers, the Red Sox star, young star, one of the last remaining stars on their team, Rafael Devers goes public and says to ownership, this is your off season, the roster you have given us in Winter Haven, Florida. He says, you owners know what we need. Go get what we need. So there's something different going on in baseball in terms of the players. Now the players are standing up and they're popping off at the owners. That's kind of novel. That's really, really different. I like it. So we got that. And then we got the fourth topic on the table. Guess who's in left field for the Yankees beginning this weekend? Juan Soto. He's excited about playing for the Yankees, excited to be in Yankee Stadium. Doesn't want to talk about his contract. You got a question about my contract? I have a contract through the World Series. You have a question about my contract? Call my agent, Scott Boras. You want to talk baseball? I'll tell you about playing in New York and playing at Yankee Stadium and the right field porch and all that. And what happens? His first batting practice, strikes out on 3 pitches down in Tampa. So this is going to be interesting to watch this because I guarantee you him playing in the Big Apple is different than playing in America's finest city or playing on the Beltway for the Washington Nationals. Mm-hmm. The focus is going to be on him every minute, every at-bat. The media will be relentless in that clubhouse in front of him all the time. You talk about culture shock. Dude better hit like the dude hit in Washington rather than how the dude hit in San Diego. It'll be fascinating to see this relationship. So, John, those are baseball headlines. Go anywhere you want.
Well, it's interesting that Bogarts and a lot of these other players, not Bogarts, Devers and a lot of these other players are calling out ownership. It reminds me of the NBA, when like LeBron and D Wade are trying to get their team together and working with ownership to, and just like what LeBron's doing with AD and with the Lakers. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I think the players should call him out. They want to compete, but you love to see the owner's balance sheet, really, because do they just go for it 1 year, get the fans excited, and then kind of dip down in quality and then ride it out for a while to maximize profit? Is that what's going on here?
You think?
Yeah, you think?
I wrote something on a column, and I also put it on my Twitter account. I used the phrase, and I was making reference to the Dodgers spending spree and how great it was what the organization had from a capability standpoint to do to go get Ohtani and go get Yamamoto and then go get Teoscar Hernandez. All that was really special. And I said, can you imagine being a Pittsburgh Pirate fan or a Detroit fan or a Kansas City fan? And here you have the Dodgers going shopping at, what's a big department store? Neiman Marcus?
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Your wife's been there, I know. Here you got the Dodgers go to the offseason, go shopping at Neiman Marcus. And the Pirates or the Royals or the Tigers or who, that have a small market, they go shopping at Dollar General. Is that fair to the fans? That quote wound up in a Pittsburgh column. A guy in Pittsburgh picked up my quote and used it making reference to the Pittsburgh Pirates and why you do business the way you do. Why do you shop at Dollar General when it comes time to get players? That's fascinating. Thoughts on Scott Boras?
Oh, well, I mean, they call it the Boras Four now.
Yeah.
I've been seeing they've been titling it that, kind of like we had the Fab Four. I don't know. And like you say, that they're starting games now, and Snell. It makes you wonder what Snell and Montgomery and those guys, what they're doing to keep themselves fresh. They must be working out every day, trying to keep up with it, but it's got to be really hard. And now you're probably second guessing. If you're Snell, are you second guessing Boras? Did he lead him down a path that was unrealistic and Snell's going to get screwed as a result?
I don't think so, because Boras historically does put his guys on teams and winds up getting them the payday. Now there are players that it has not worked out. Adrian Beltre entrusted Boras with everything. And Beltre was a really good Dodger. He wound up going to a bad Seattle situation. He got his money, but he wasn't happy. And his stats suffered because that was a weird stadium to hit in. Eventually wound up in Texas, great career, resuscitated everything, going to the Baseball Hall of Fame. So the guys, I think for the most part, John, they trust Boras, that Boras will get them. The thing is, you're getting your money, but are you getting to the right team, or you get into a team that desperately needs you at the last minute because there's been a bad injury, et-cetera? I don't sense, and again, it's only February 21st, whatever. I don't sense that there's any panic yet. But, if we get into the second or third week of March and these guys have not landed on their feet, now you wonder whether or not anybody's going to pay the price. And then the players have to rethink, well, take a shorter term contract. There are shorter term contracts out there for Blake Snell. I was told 3 years, $150 million. I was told Yankees. I was told Angels. Why not take 3 years? Go have another good year. You're going to get $30 million. Go have the 3-year paydays. And if you're still healthy, you go back into free agency for one more kick at the can 3 years from now. So that,
has a 3-year, $35 million offer been made?
I was told the Yankees' last offer was 6 years, $150, and it had no opt-outs. You have to stay here for all 6 if we're going to go to that price tag. And I was told that never got a response. Then I heard, somebody would offer 3 years, $90 million, which is $30 million per. 3 years, $90 million from the Angels. That's a very feasible, very doable contract for both sides. I think it's win-win for both. But if the agents convince the pitcher it's got to be 7 years and it's got to be $35 million per, and the players bought into it. So he's sitting at home in Seattle watching Padre games like we're sitting here in San Diego watching the Dodgers score 8 runs in the first inning against the Padres.
What's Scott Boras' cut of a contract? Is it 10%?
I think it's 5%.
5.
At least that's what it used to be for significant agents, which is a significant amount of bank.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we go from baseball